Shabbat Shalom. Our world is hopping with news and controversy. Riots, protests, and shaky governments in foreign countries, potential policy shifts around settlements, impeachment hearings, new immigration policies taking effect, never-ending elections in Israel. The list goes on and on and on. It's overwhelming to live in the land of the 24-hour news cycle. And to talk about one of these things feels like I am just adding to the cacophony of voices that crowd our week. So I won't. Instead, I'd like to tell you the story of something that happened to me the other day when I was engaged in an essential task of any Jewish educator. I was at Michael's, shopping for supplies for our family Havdalah program. And as I stood at the register, waiting for the cashier to ring up the numerous small containers I needed for making spice boxes, I noticed a woman chatting with an older man. They seemed so comfortable with one another that the exchange caught my eye and my curiosity. They stood near the exit smiling and slowly made their way into the elevator. I noticed as they walked that the older man had a special cane that people who are visually impaired use. I wondered how the two, who seemed to be truly enjoying each other's company, how they knew each other. As I finished paying for my spice boxes and I turned toward the exit, I spied that same woman from a few moments earlier coming back out of the elevator. She turned, picked up a shopping basket, and headed into the store. The older man no longer with her. When I got out onto the street, I saw that same man again, and this time, he was standing on the corner asking for someone to help him cross the street. As I got closer, I noticed that someone had indeed agreed to help him and was taking his arm. I realized that both of these people who had helped this man were unknown to him, and he to them. They were probably strangers who didn't even know each other's names. Simply someone who decided to help. Random, anonymous New Yorkers who helped this man to have an easier day and to get where he needed to go. Throughout the Bible, we read about unnamed people having a significant impact on the story. People who pop up once have a profound, albeit sometimes seemingly small, moment in the text, and then are never heard from again. In this week's parasha, we read about Abraham's unnamed slave, who is given the task to go to the land of Abraham's birth and find a wife for his son, Isaac. This is not an inconsequential task. This task ensures the future of the new nation that Abraham has started. This task is about legacy and continuity. The wrong wife could be detrimental to Abraham, to Isaac, and their entire family line. Yet, the slave meets Rebekah, a woman who is so kind that she provides water to the slave and his camels before caring for her own needs. This match of Isaac and Rebekah allows Abraham's legacy to continue. Later on, in a few weeks, we will read about Jacob wrestling with the Ish. In the middle of the night, Jacob begins a physical struggle with another being who is also unnamed in the text and unknown to Jacob throughout the entire incident. The wrestling match is so intense that Jacob's hip is wrenched from its socket. But Jacob's perseverance leads the Ish to bless him. Some might argue that this midnight scuffle This is the confidence boost that allows Jacob to meet his estranged brother with only love and teshuvah in his heart. My favorite unnamed character in the text is Bat Paro, Pharaoh's daughter. She scoops Moses out of the basket floating on the Nile and takes him into the palace to raise him as her own child. She turns a peasant baby doomed for death into a prince of Egypt and the eventual leader of the Hebrew people, leading them out of slavery, through the desert, and straight to Eretz Yisrael. Bat Paro is the reason the Torah continues after the first few verses of the book of Exodus. Without her, the 5 books of Moses might have been the one book of another ancient people who didn't survive. The rabbis nicknamed Bat Paro as Bitya in later rabbinic texts. Maybe this is a statement that they see her act as significant. They want to elevate it, and they want to ensure her place in our history. Each of these characters in our Torah, Pharaoh's daughter, Jacob's wrestling partner, and Abraham's slave, all made contributions that benefited someone else's story. Their impact on our people's survival cannot be denied. But why? What possesses someone to do something so significant, so kind, so honest and caring for someone else? Why does the slave take the task of ensuring Abraham's lineage so seriously? Why does the Ish bless Jacob and give him a gift that is beyond the physical? Why does Pharaoh's daughter not only lift the baby out of the water, but give him everything she has, including her newfound motherly love? Usually, we think of the unknown individual as someone who is dangerous or scary. They are out to get us. They will hurt us since they do not know us. We see them, and we move to the other side of the street. We hold our bags a bit closer and tighter. We avoid eye contact and conversation. But that's not what's in our text and our tradition. The examples we see are those of individuals who are kind, decent, and helpful. I wonder how our lives would be different if we imagined every stranger to be a good person rather than worry about them. Recently, I visited our 7th grade class as they were discussing the concept of Lamed Vavniks. This slightly folkloric idea in our culture originates in the Babylonian Talmud, where one sage is noted as saying, "There are not less than 36 righteous men in the world who receive the divine presence." From this one quote, the lore has spread to an understanding that at any given time, in any given generation, there are 36 righteous people, anonymous righteous people in the world. The number 36 works out to be the letters Lamed and Vav in Hebrew, and thus the term Lamed Vavniks is the name given to this random, anonymous, constantly present, world-changing group of people. The 7th graders had serious questions about the Lamed Vavniks. They speculated far and wide about who these Lamed Vavniks might be. That's when their teacher said something very powerful. Yes, you're right. The Lamed Vavniks could be Mother Teresa or Elie Wiesel or Martin Luther King, and while we might suspect them, we will never know for sure. However, the teacher continued, what if it isn't someone like that at all? What if you saw a Lamed Vavnik yesterday when you saw a woman give up her seat on the subway for an elderly person? Or what if it's the man you saw this morning give a sandwich to a homeless person? What if the person who helped you get up when you tripped on the stairs the other day is a lamed vavnik. Those are truly anonymous acts, and those people and their acts are kind and generous without any fanfare or any request for something in return. I have never seen 7th graders quite so silent. Imagine that. Imagine if there was a lamed vavnik sitting in this room right now. What this group of students began to grapple with is that even the most seemingly simple act can have a profound impact upon an individual and their story. And even more profound is that when we are anonymous, the act is more selfless, as there can be no acknowledgement other than maybe a thank you. Just the moment and the act have all the power. No one will give us awards or provide us an extra tip for our service. When we're these anonymous benefactors, we will never know how that person's day, week, or life was changed forever by what we did. I wonder what that man at Michael's was buying and where he was headed, and if he would have gotten there without depending upon the kindness of strangers. The lure of the lamed vavniks is that no one, not even those 36 righteous people themselves, will ever know who they are. Which must mean that each person we see, each person we interact with has the potential to be a lamed vavnik. And if we accept the act of kindness, we are helping them to fulfill their destiny. We ourselves might actually be one of the lamed vavniks as well, with the potential to be a righteous person, if only we choose to act on that innate and powerful sense of righteousness that is inside each of us. It was not merely a sense of obligation or loyalty that led Abraham's slave to go on a journey to find Isaac's Eshet Chayil. It was not a macho sense of power that led Jacob's Ish to bestow blessings upon him. It was not the curiosity that comes from seeing a cute baby that led Pharaoh's daughter to draw Moses up from the water and raise him safely in the Egyptian palace. There is something more that drives every act of goodness, every act of caring, every act of thoughtfulness. It is that sense of righteousness and a desire to do for others. There can be no truer act of righteousness than the one that is done anonymously. Any true act of tzedek done without expectation of reward or without knowing the other is the purest kind of justice and kindness. And our sage Maimonides would strive for us to know this, if nothing else. Margaret Mead famously said, "Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has." Maybe Mead was referring to the lamed vavniks. Maybe she knew that these ordinary people will change the world through their commitment to righteousness, to making the world more fair and just, one simple act at a time. And maybe we can be those ordinary citizens, those lamed vavniks. In this world, in this time with so many crazy news stories and scary headlines, how can we not hope that maybe we have the power to change the world, one anonymous, selfless, righteous act at a time?